Welcome to Inside the Nation podcast. I'm your host, Eric Thoreau.
And Tom Jones.
And we want to welcome you to another edition, and we're getting down to the thick of things.
Yes, the nitty-gritty. Here we are, week 17. Can you believe it? What happened to the season?
No, man, I want to rewind and just live it over again. But before we continue on with the week 17, that'll be our final point of conversation in this week. What we have on plan for our conversations is we're going to review the Washington Valor officially being announced as a team with the team nickname, colors, and logo. And then we're going to talk about the recent changes to the playoff alignment situation and some of the strategies that Orlando played into it to try to do it off of the old alignment. So we'll talk about that. And then, of course, we'll preview Week 17 action. So let's talk about the Washington Valor officially be announced. I know this happened last week, and we didn't have a podcast last week to discuss it, so we're talking about it now. So what do you think, Tom?
Well, I mean, if you guys haven't checked out the actual symbol and just like the whole thing, I mean, it does, to me, it looks very like veteran, like military.
Yeah.
And it also looks very Washington, D.C. So, very political. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just telling you that's what I got out of it and stuff. And you know what? That's fine. That's great and everything. It kind of also, the colors kind of symbolize kind of like a 4th of July type situation, coming up.
Yeah.
So like when they
American Pride.
Yeah, American Pride and everything. Kind of like, the Patriots of the NFL. So.
Well, and also you got to think about it. If you look into it, they're owned by Monumental Sports and Entertainment, which is chairman is Ted Leonsis. And if you look at his other teams, Washington Mystics of the WNBA, the Washington Capitals of the NHL, and the Washington Wizards of the NBA, they all have in common is red, white, and blue. And when they even, back in March, when they even first announced that Washington was even getting a team, it was sort of underlyingly saying that, who knows, maybe our colors are going to be red and white, and they're saying jokingly, because red, white, and blue is their team colors with the other three teams to keep it going. Yeah. Sort of like the way Pittsburgh does it, with black and yellow through all their teams up there.
So, the thing, what's good about it is I don't think there's any other team right now in the league that's close to those type of colors. So at least they're going to be unique in that sense.
Yeah, I don't see red, white, and blue in any of the colors. We have multiple teams that have like red and black, and Portland Steel came on when they redid their colors. They sort of looked like they took over the Chicago Rush colors.
Right. Yeah.
So if you remember the Chicago Rush back in 2013 when they were still around, or the heydays in 2008 and before, so it's a good thing, because they're doing it for branding purposes and recognition. It helps to have a relationship with the other three teams that Ted owns. They're going to be playing there at the Verizon Center, which is a nice arena, I heard. So they could get like 17,000 strong for an AFL game there.
May have to go check out the game there, and maybe this next season, and go visit some monuments and go to the Air and Space Museum. I've never been there.
Yeah,
so they're cool to go over there.
Going to a game could be your star. You're the star of the trip to Washington to see. And then
bucket list.
Yeah, it could be on your bucket list, and then you could go and check out all the monuments and historic landmarks that they have there in the DC area and Virginia and all that stuff. When you go to Langley, Virginia, you know what's in Langley. So basically,
isn't it on Mission Impossible?
Yeah, we won't go there. But basically, overall, when I first heard they announced it as the Washington Valor, I immediately thought that was a weird name, and I tried saying in my head Valor, like, trying to do like sports chants, like
"Go Valor!"
Let's go Valor!
Yeah, you know what?
Let's go Valor!
Yeah, there's going to be some getting used to on that. It's like
yeah,
for another Valor first down. I don't know.
Yeah, so but then I can see what they're going through, and it sort of kind of fits of what's going on in the country actually. Valor is a Medal of Valor that it goes out to public service excellence, to the first responders like police force, the emergency medical technicians out there, and the firefighters.
And the military.
No, military is more, they get different. It's more public service, not military. So I looked it up, and it's like, that's what the country needs. They need some valor. You need to stand behind the men and women that go out there and risk their lives on a daily basis for our country.
Hey, you know what I just noticed? The Valor, they borrowed our colors, Ninth Man Nation colors. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I guess when they see some good colors and they
also match the AFL colors too.
Right.
So yeah, but we want to welcome them. And what's gotten me from past experiences on how new teams were announced, I think this was the biggest deal that they've had. I know the production level that they put there in that they had at the medical offices there. That's the team medical sponsors. It was great, and you see the video quality and the video production they put behind it. Like I have the highlights of the announcement over on Nation TV on both YouTube and Vimeo. I haven't seen it like that in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have an opportunity to check out the whole video, was it half hour long? I would suggest at least checking out the highlights. I mean, they made a big deal about it and everything.
Yeah, I mean, they brought in like a couple of girls. They were the dance team members of the Wizards. To support the Valor shirts and all that stuff. So they're already doing branding on clothing.
Did they announce the cheerleader names?
Not yet.
I mean, as far as what they're going to call them?
The Valor girls? I wouldn't know.
The elephants?
Yeah. I mean, they have an eagle.
Donkeys?
They have the eagle there on there. Bald eagle.
Yeah, I'm just going by political parties.
Yeah, we don't want to go there. That's what's going on right now with the party systems kicking out our AFL teams from the arenas.
Oh, yeah. Let's don't get into politics. That's a whole nother show.
Yep. So basically, I think this is a good way. It's showing strength in the way they're announcing teams. Everybody's in a hurry already to say what's going on for 2018, who's going to come, and there's been leak information out there that there's like 6 cities in the workings for 2018.
Possibly Sacramento.
Possibly Sacramento. I'm hearing speculation. I had a conversation with some guy that lives up in Sacramento actually last night. And he said that there's speculation they're going to tear down the old Sleep Train arena and make it into like some housing or whatever, or some apartment communities or whatever they're going to make it into. And I was saying, well, that could have been only the arena. That's the only arena that an AFL team would play up in Sacramento.
How about the new arena?
The Golden One Center is too small.
Really?
Yeah, the land they did.
You're talking about the actual field would be too small?
The configuration. If they would have put it into the arena football configuration, it's too small. It's more for basketball. Yeah, they'll have concerts.
So isn't it? Are they? I'm sure they could play hockey there, right?
I think they could do minor league hockey or college, but they can't do a National Hockey League. Because
isn't it like any arena, or usually the rule goes that any arena that's set up for hockey can technically be set up for arena football, right? Yeah. Basically, that's how it usually is. I mean, you got like the Jacksonville Veterans Memorial Coliseum or Memorial Arena there. They have a minor league hockey team, and that's why it's a little bit smaller, and that's why they have the curved end zones. If you look at Amway Center in Orlando, they do have a minor league hockey team, but they built that arena back new, knowing the configurations and what they wanted, because they also do other things. And they wanted the NHL All-Star Game there. I think they had it once, and they need the bigger arena, and that's why their field actually goes. It doesn't have the backboards at the back of the end zones, right on the goal line. Same with Tampa Bay. But see, I would think that if anybody in the right mind is going to make an arena or build it, they're going to try to make it as compatible with just so many different venues as possible, because they're going to, they may have a circus in town, they might have who knows what kind of sporting events are going to get in the future. Don't bring up the circus. You have to bring that up, huh? I know. I'm still sore. That one's a little sore. About that, yeah. So, and that brings up another conversation we can have for another day about the SaberCats being forced out by the circus, and all that stuff. But boy, that kind of sounds lame, huh? SaberCats were forced out by the circus? Yeah, but, they tried moving the game. They tried, but it was the league board of directors that said no. Yeah. Even ESPN was down with it to move it to a Monday after the circus left. Yeah, but you know what? I know it would have been nice to have it in San Jose, but... Where it had it was good. But, it's like, I think, and we've talked about this before, with Stockton Arena, it sounded. I mean, in fact, I think it was a little louder because the fans were even that much closer. and the way the building and the acoustics and everything were set in the building. You had the banners up. You had the announcer, Nick. I mean, he did an awesome job. So as much as I hate what they did and as much as it pissed a lot of people off, overall, looking back at it, it was kind of fun to have it.
It's a different experience.
It's a different experience.
Except for me. I mean, I went to the post Arena Bowl. The Sabercats won. I went to a little private party, and then when I went out to my car, it was time to go home. The parking garage was locked, and I was stuck in the garage for like extra 20 minutes until they finally let me out. But that's just some of the experience that the Washington's ninth man could start getting used to. It's fun. Go to the games. I want to reach out to Washington, and Ted Leonsis and Dean Kokinos, who's the head coach there, and maybe we'll get Dean on our show in the coming weeks. But
that's a really good idea.
I want to reach out to the Washington media, out there. I'm already, doing Dave Lewis, who does the play-by-play. I think for the
Wizards.
I think it's the Wizards, but he's on the NBC network out there, Comcast network out there, Mid Atlantic. And he did the announcing for the reveal of the team name and the franchise, for them. So he's going to be definitely their media guy out there for the AFL team, whether they get a TV deal or not, which most likely they will. They'll probably be on CSN Mid-Atlantic out there.
And the thing is, the key to it is you cannot see anything on TV, any kind of video. You can see the video and say, oh, okay, it looks pretty cool and everything and stuff. But you got to take a fan that's never been at an arena football game, put them there and say, look, just, here, sit and watch an experience. And you're going to become a fan. You're going to fall in love in 60 minutes.
Yes. And I want to make a point to it. I don't know if about Tom here, but I want to make a point to it.
Oh, wait, what are we talking about?
Yeah, be careful. Don't say you're in and don't say yes to something that you don't know about yet, You can get stuck for big time. Oh, he said he was going to pay me $1 million and he says in.
Oh, good luck with that one.
And that was recorded. No, see.
Good luck with that one.
No, what I want to do, if Tom wants to agree with me, is starting effective the time release of this podcast is start budgeting, put a budget together to make a trip out to DC for their very first home opener. How spectacular of an event, and then we cover it here on Ninth Man Nation.
Oh man, that'd be cool. You know what? I'm very much down for that bad boy. That would be yes.
And I've already checked out prices to the DC area to both Reagan and what's the other one? The other they have two airports, Reagan and
for that time of year though.
For the March, it's going to be roughly around $500 round trip Southwest. So.
You know what? As long as I can see my Smithsonian and the Air and Space and all that stuff, add arena football to that.
3 days.
That'd be
make it a tour thing.
That'd be pretty sweet.
The main point would be the arena football.
Yeah, I want to. Maybe we can try on Abe's top hat or something.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It might fit you, not me. But yeah. We want to make an effort, we want to make a point. If anybody who's listening to our podcast out in the DC area, the Maryland area, and the Baltimore, Maryland area, and the Virginia area, make the trek to the Verizon Center.
One game.
Go to one game, you'll be hooked. If you're for whatever reason you're interested in, but yet you're not knowing about the finances and want to go. Do a favor and just to support the team, watch it on TV, listen to it on their radio station, whatever media deal they get out there. I know they'll probably be streaming it live on their Monumental Sports Network website. But go to the game physically. And if by chance you can't go to the game, but you want to, watch it on TV so that way you're at least supporting it and we're giving it exposure.
And if you go to the game, the little bit of advice, do not be texting during the play because you're going to get a football in your face, a player in your face, or a beer in your face, depending on what the scenario is. So.
Yeah, so the key is if the team is driving down towards your end of the field, put everything away and secure everything.
Yes.
If they're driving away, you're okay to start sipping, but still pay attention because you never know when the interception could come and then the player will come rushing right in front of you.
Yeah, see, now I was lucky that I didn't drop my phone because anytime, throughout the years, you're always running in your mind, almost like a football player out in the field. What happens if the ball comes my way? And I was actually videotaping Meyer, and literally he threw the ball to me, and I was still able to catch it. Now, of course, that was a fluke.
That was a line drive. And
that was towards the end zone.
Yeah, and your butt was scared to death when that ball came. You're like, you jumped. He was like, because that was a line drive bullet, and Eric Meyer has an arm on him.
Yeah.
So
I probably got a bruise or two out of that.
Yeah. So go get your tickets. It's I'm sure they're gonna do some like offers to the media to get free tickets and contests and all that stuff. Enter those contests, but overall, from what I'm hearing, that season tickets are not even that expensive. They're not, $25 deposit to do anywhere in the Verizon Center, and then you just go and pick out your seats. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be fast energy. Like I said, if you get a ball, you can keep the ball, but we would like, just so we can have an equal number of players on the field, return the player.
Yes, throw the player back
no matter
on the
what
field.
The player offers.
If it's the opposing team, throw him back.
Yeah, if the player even offers to come and do your laundry, still give him back. He's not going to come and do your chores. So that's what we have for our first part here now. So we're going to now transition to the playoffs and
playoffs,
and hopefully Washington will be in it next year. So it's a good highly chance that Washington could be in it next year.
Oh yeah.
So with that said, we want to now talk to our second part, and we're going to talk about the issue that just arose earlier this week is the realignment of the playoff seeding. And,
I feel really sorry for this guy sitting next to me here. He went through all this effort to put in the seeding. I feel sorry for some of the coaches out there that were thinking the last week's playoff scenarios, how the teams are seeded and what the matchups are and the decisions that they made. And you told me about this, you kind of went into detail fully and stuff, so you did such a great job. But if you want to tell our listeners pretty much what the scenario was, I guess. I actually just came across to a second thing. It's like we're mostly talking about the game Monday night, Orlando Predators at Arizona Rattlers. It was like 3 seconds or 4 seconds left in the game. Everybody's thinking that, okay, well, Orlando had the ball, and they'll just run it out and let the clock run because they're already down 20 points. But what it is that Arizona needed, based off of the tournament-style seeding that started at the beginning of the year, Arizona needed to win that game by 18 points to get the tiebreaker from the previous matchup in Orlando. So they were ahead by 20. Everything's looking good and gravy. They got that. Orlando was calling timeouts. Even the announcers that were calling the game on ESPN3 for Arizona, and one of them was Lincoln Kennedy from the Raiders, were questioning all that strategy. And then they brought up and said, oh, yeah, that's right. They're trying to do the 18-point thing. And they're saying a lot of these fans are leaving, but some of these fans know the situation. That's why they're staying. They know what Orlando's trying to do. So Orlando went down, and they saved it to the last play, and they went and kicked a field goal, which brought their 20-point deficit down to 17. Which makes a difference.
Yeah, and people are wondering why are you celebrating a 17-point loss? A lot of people were celebrating. Even the coach Keefe was celebrating because they knew the situation, point differential-wise, that they have the tiebreaker over Arizona. Now, with that said, if they decided to switch everything up and screw everything up, the board of directors went and changed the seeding rules.
Not tiebreaker over Arizona.
Yeah, Orlando owns the tiebreaker over Arizona.
You're talking about under the
old seeding.
The old one, yeah.
But now, if you look at it this way, okay, Arizona's playoff situation is that they're already the national conference title holders.
Right.
Okay, so on the old playoff situation, they could got no less than the number 2 seed. Okay, and if the Philadelphia Soul were to win the American Conference in the East Coast, then the Arizona Rattlers having the tiebreaker over Philadelphia, it just goes between the two, conference holders. Arizona has a tiebreaker there, so that means Arizona would have gone up to the number 1 seed. But if Orlando wins the last season of the game, it doesn't matter.
You're talking about what? You pretty much home field advantage out the playoffs, right?
Yeah. It doesn't matter what happens with Arizona in their last game this coming up week against Cleveland. Orlando will be the number 1 seed automatically because of that 17-point difference. They brought it down below 18, and they have the tiebreaker over Arizona. So going through the playoffs, there's only 2 rounds. I don't know why I keep on reading articles saying the first 2 rounds. I'm like, okay, well, there's
first 2 only rounds.
Yeah, there's only 2 rounds. There's a semifinal and a well, it would have been a quarterfinal and a semifinal, and then it would have been the Reno Bowl. But now they've gone and switched it to conference style like it used to be back in the day, or like last year. So with that said, the only thing I can think of is now Arizona is the number 1 seed in the national conference. That's already said and done. So you got LA Kiss, number 2 seed. You got Cleveland, number 3 seed, and Portland's number 4. Portland and Arizona are the only 2 teams in the national conference that have locked their position. So Portland, in the first round of playoff, is going to travel to Phoenix and play the Rattlers. That's already said and done. Okay, so now the thing is
the two middle
teams, LA and Cleveland,
it's up in the air still.
And LA owns the tiebreaker because they won both games. Cleveland needed to win the last meetup last week by, I think, was it 6 points at least. Mm-hmm. But LA won by 3 points. So, but they won by both points. So they won both games. So LA has a tiebreaker. Cleveland still has a bye. I believe they have a bye at the last week of the season, just like Arizona Rattlers do. So those are the 2 teams that have a bye. Cleveland's already, LA Kiss is playing at Jacksonville, and then they play on the road again. I think I'll have to take a look at the schedule, but they're on the road for both their games because their last home game was last week against Cleveland. So I think Tom's going to look up the LA Kiss game. So with this being said, if LA wins next week, they basically clinch the number 4, or this week. I'm sorry, this week.
So there's only 2 more weeks.
There's actually 3 more weeks. This week, next week, and the
so we're in week 17, right?
Yeah.
And look, it just goes up to 18.
Okay, so there is 2 more weeks. So
because remember the last game Monday?
Yeah, LA Kiss. Oh yeah, LA Kiss is at Portland.
Yeah.
Okay, so LA Kiss play Jacksonville this week, and then they play at Portland the following week, the first week in August. So August 1st, actually, literally, Monday night game. And that's supposed to be on Televisa Deportes.
Can you say that again?
Televisa Deportes?
Yeah, try to make it sound like Televisa Deportes.
I'm not the guy that needed to say goal for really long. I can't hold my breath that long. Or touchdown that long. Goal. Okay. So, but it's going to be also on CBS Sports Network, too. So the playoff alignment, going back to the playoff alignment, the way it's going to work now, because now the board of directors, keep in mind, any decisions made in the Arena Football League is made by the board of directors. The board of directors consist of the primary owner of each individual team. And then whatever made by those owners and comes to consensus to what being done, like making the decision to go back to conference-style playoff seeding, Butera then takes that information and announces it. And he's the face of decisions being made by the board of directors.
So what do you think about this late in the season suddenly changing that format when it was supposed to be, the playoffs were supposed to be run a different way? What do you think about that?
It has its benefits and has its negatives. But because the teams were playing for one way and trying to do their matchup like the way Orlando did. Now, if you look at it, let's say Orlando wins next week or hosting Philadelphia. Okay, they become the national American Conference title holder. Okay, with that said, even though you still got them being number 1 there in American Conference and you got Arizona being number 1 in national, if they were to go and both those teams were to go through the 2 rounds of playoffs and sweep through the playoffs and then go to the Reno Bowl, you have to still decide, because it's not neutral site, it's home field. So who hosts the home field?
Yeah.
Orlando would host the home field and home the Reno Bowl over Arizona. So that's why it's still, you look at it and say, well, they went for that field goal based off of the old playoffs but it still plays a part into their seeding.
So like the first round, it doesn't affect the first round.
It doesn't affect as much. I don't think it affects any round.
Yeah, as much as a second round, right? Scenario 1 and scenario 2.
Possibly for travel, and I think that's where it perks. One of the perks is that
Oh,
It
it's
can
because
limit
now
the cost.
you're battling people more close. So one, you're getting the fans the opportunity to go see their team on the road because
Yeah.
it's more of a regional game as opposed to
And then
having to
also-
go all the ways across country.
Yeah, and it also keeps the cost of travel down too for the team, the individual team. Even though that's also budgeted within the
Yeah.
league because everything's single entity,
Yeah.
it's still going to cost money to travel across country. If Philadelphia had to go to Arizona to play, or to Portland to play, whatever.
So it makes sense. I just don't like the fact that if teams were trying to play one strategy, regardless, if it was going to work out for them or not, now suddenly 2 weeks left in the season, boom, all of a sudden they switch format. So suddenly your strategy is kind of changing. It's almost like them saying, "Oh, you know what? We're not going to have the last week of the season." And then it was also, what? Well, we prepared. We did this and we did that. It's kind of like that. I guess it could work out good or bad. It all depends on after the fact for teams, right?
Yeah. So the only thing that's playing the part right now in the postseason is who's going to take over the American Conference.
Okay.
It's up to either Philadelphia or Orlando. And with the fact that we also got to talk about... Richard, I only had written down here on the notes that we're going to only talk about 3 things, but I need to add a 4th thing in there.
Let's do it.
I don't know if this is a surprise to Tom.
I got the time. Do you get the time?
Time is dinner time. No. The 4th thing is the releasing of the Jacksonville Sharks head coach Les Moss.
Oh, yeah.
There's speculation that even Jeff Bucci said in a video interview that he had with News 4 Jacksonville out there, the NBC station out there, that they've been contemplating this release for 3 years, since 2010. Or no, 2013. 2010 is when Jacksonville became a team, a member of the league.
Yeah, but then, of course, last year his story was all dominant, on TV and stuff, and, how they kept showing him and stuff up in the was that the press box?
Yeah, press box, because he was recovering from some kind of injury that he had with his leg or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was a whole season issue that he had. But people are saying, well, why do it now? I mean, because if you look at last season, the Sharks they started, 1-5? They got to the point to where they clinched a playoff berth going into this season. They're already into the playoffs. Every single team's in the playoffs. So the fact is, they're looking at his overall performance and regular season record. For the last couple of years, it's 22-28, I believe. And with that said, it doesn't matter what happens when you get into the playoffs. Even if you just play barely, slightly good enough just to edge into the playoffs, it looks like the Jacksonville ownership doesn't want that. Especially if you look at their player roster. Their player roster is an all-star caliber roster.
Especially adding a couple of former SaberCats.
Yeah, you got that. You got Tiger Jones, who does, who is now, watched by Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, after he did the People's Elbow last year.
Oh, yeah.
So, you got Tommy Grady. So you got...
So a 5-9 record.
And they still have 2 games left, I believe.
Yeah, I mean it's not the best record. I mean, you don't want to make it a habit of that. And last year, of course, they got hot at the end of the season. Boom, went to the playoffs. Came, a half a game away from, winning it all.
Yeah.
But the thing is, every year is a new season, right?
Yeah, and they had to do it on the road consistently. They said the Jacksonville Sharks hasn't hosted the Arena Bowl for a couple years now.
Right.
I mean, not hosted the Arena Bowl, but they've never hosted the Arena Bowl. Talking about hosting a playoff game.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's an issue because that has to fall back onto the regular season record, that's an issue that the ownership there had to take stake in. So, and Les Moss has been the only coach that Jacksonville has ever seen. So, from what I've seen, there was some, questionable play calls during the season. But the person who I saw on the field making those calls was Raymond Filial. And if you take Raymond Filial was a great quarterback in this league.
Oh, yeah.
A fantastic quarterback in this league.
Oh, he came into San Jose a couple times. At least one time during
and
the
gave
playoffs.
us some headaches, yes.
Yeah.
He has his head coaching experience from being with the San Antonio Talons. that didn't do well if you look at the history that he had there. So who knows who's going to be permanent. Right now, I would not make any decisions on a permanent replacement for Les Moss. I'm surprised they didn't even wait till the postseason, because you're so close to the postseason, and if Les Moss has such a stronger fixation in the postseason and takes your team to be successful in the postseason, it shouldn't matter where.
So, see, it could go either way, though. It's like you could look at, and of course, it's really easy to wait a couple months from now and then look back, but it could either be like the boost and the change that the team needed in order to say, okay, you know what, we're turning this around. Or it could say, well, look, what you did is you threw somebody else in there, so any fighting chance that they possibly had, that chemistry and stuff, the system and everything, it's when you shake up the coaching staff, especially right, before the playoffs. Now, normally when you shake up a coaching staff, that means you're probably not in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
But, from a perspective of this, 5-9 probably doesn't get you in the playoffs if everybody's going to be in the playoffs anyways, right?
Yeah, normally. Yeah. So it's a tough decision that they made. But I think they're looking at it to where at this point they're looking at it to where if they play their playoff games, and as of right now, you got Philadelphia being the number 1 seed in the American Conference, you got Orlando number 2, and then you got Jacksonville number 3 and Tampa Bay number 4. So Orlando would host Jacksonville in the first round, and then Philadelphia would host Tampa Bay. So Jacksonville has been a thorn in Orlando's side. Even though they haven't won, they've been a thorn in their side. And with the way that Jacksonville did last year, having to win on the road, I think they even beat Orlando last year in Orlando, and then they had to travel up to Philadelphia. And I want to stand corrected, when Tampa Bay goes to play Philadelphia, if they are the number 1 seed, it's actually going to be in Allentown, Pennsylvania, at the PPL Center. So, and that brings up to the situation to what we talked about last year for the SaberCats having to play their games on the road.
Right.
Except for the SaberCats played their first round at home, and then their second round was on the road, and then the Reno Bowl. So it's the same issue with Philadelphia, and everybody's getting on it that the SaberCats were not. Now it's happening with Philadelphia. And Philadelphia has already had to play 2 regular season games on the road.
So
or at a neutral site.
Hopefully they can take that arena and just give it that feel that it needs, right?
Yeah, from what I saw on the games, they do. Philadelphia does the same thing as what the San Jose team did last year. They bring their field there. They bring whatever they can. Their mascots, everything is the same to make it as close to home.
Banners. Philadelphia has banners.
Yeah, they have, unfortunately, one banner.
One banner, but we won't.
For the 2008 Arena Bowl. And who the quarterback was? Tony Graziani there that won that one.
Tony Graziani.
So, and we're going to be working to try to get Tony Graziani on our show.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
He's an all-time great.
Yeah. LA Avengers.
LA Avengers.
For a couple of years. And then, with the Philadelphia Soul to close out his career, probably not by choice, but because of the league went down in 2008 after the Arena Bowl, he probably decided.
You love to hate him and you hate to love him. That's one of those situations.
He's a great guy. Even as an Avenger, we sort of hated him. But, so there's a lot of things going on with this, realignment, and
but
I don't see too much, difficulty in it. It's just the fact that they did it. The board of directors did it at such an end when there's no real play into it, except for maybe the cost of flying teams cross country to go playoffs.
But they should have thought about that beforehand.
And then
it shouldn't have changed over the last couple of months.
Yeah, they shouldn't have just waited till we'd expect Arizona, Orlando, and Philadelphia all to be 12-3 or whatever it is and tied except for the mathematical tiebreakers that are involved. We didn't expect that. Why couldn't you expect that? Why couldn't you expect everybody to be 16-0?
Yeah, Orlando. They traditionally put in a good show. Philadelphia has been strong the last couple of years. Arizona, they're always kind of in it. I think it's kind of interesting, though, how in the American Conference you have Philadelphia, Orlando. They're kind of like on top of the game, right? They're like a heap above everyone else, and then you have Jacksonville at 5-9, and then you got, of course, Tampa Bay, which Tampa Bay traditionally has been a strong team, so that's kind of a surprise. But then on the other hand, on a national conference, you have Arizona at 12-3. And then all of a sudden you got LA Kiss, Cleveland Gladiators. They're kind of in the middle and stuff, but they're almost equal, right? And then, of course, you got Portland down kind of where the Tampa Bay
I do
is.
want to say this about the LA Kiss. The last 2 seasons, which were the first 2 seasons of their existence, they didn't win that many games. I think, what was it, last year they only won 4 games.
Right.
And one of them, of course, had to be against the SaberCats from going perfect. But, with that said, this year has been their best season in franchise history. Even though it's only been 3 years, they're a 500 team right now. They're 7-7. So they've already doubled or matched their 2 win seasons of the last 2 years combined. So last 2 years they've won 7 games. This year alone they won 7 games with still 2 games left. They could go and finish out at 9-7 with a winning record for the first time in franchise history. We have to give props to Joe Wyndham, who brought the team together.
Absolutely.
After assessing what happened last year when he took over, I think like mid-season or whatever last year after coming over from the Arizona Rattlers, and Omar Smith.
Yes. And may I add, both of those gentlemen, they come from winning. They come from a land of winning. So, whatever experience they have and stuff, they know how to get it done and stuff. So, of course, Wyndham comes over from Arizona, right?
Yes.
And, of course, Omar Smith, he's all about winning just from, his history in San Jose. And
he has what?
Tampa Bay and
Omar Smith has...
And Arizona.
Yeah, Omar Smith, I think, has 3 rings as coach. 2 of them with the Arizona Rattlers as a defensive head coach, or was it assistant defensive coach, coordinator, and then 1 as assistant head coach with the San Jose SaberCats last year. And then the rest of his rings are all with the SaberCats except for 1 year.
Tampa Bay.
Was with Tampa Bay Storm. And a lot of people actually forget about that Tampa Bay Storm play where he went out there for 1 year, won the Arena Bowl, and then came back to San Jose.
And wasn't it like where he won the Arena Bowl in San Jose, he went over to Tampa Bay, won the Arena Bowl, then didn't he come back to San Jose and win the Arena Bowl again?
I believe so. I think that was, if I'm corrected, 2003, Tampa Bay Storm won the Arena Bowl.
Yeah, I think so.
And then 2002 was the SaberCats in Arena Bowl 16, and 2004 was SaberCats over Arizona in Arizona that you went to, and I went to. That was on the last game it was actually the very last home game for the Arena Bowl before they switched over to neutral site because of NBC.
Yeah.
And NBC Sports hosted that Arena Bowl. So, and they brought the SaberCats.
That was the one
in Phoenix.
Yeah, in Arizona.
Yeah. And then the next year, that was Arena Bowl 18. And Arena Bowl 19, they went to Las Vegas.
That's right.
So, a lot of questions have, I don't see any real negatives about switching. Yeah, it's a decision thing, where if you're going to kind of make league decisions like that towards the end of the season, that could be making your league look like it's unstable.
Right.
But let's in mind, the league is becoming stable, and it is on a solid foundation of bedrock. It's not on landfill.
Right.
So, it has proven package. If you look at the attendance throughout the year, I'm actually going to build a page on ninthmannation.net, and I'm going to put it under stats. I'm going to move the standings page under stats, and then on another one drop down, I'm going to have attendance. And the attendance is going to be a chart of each individual week's attendance for each team as a running total. Also, I have right now just the running total on the standings page, and also the most recent home game that was played. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all of it for each team, and this should be up by the end of the weekend. And with that, you'll see that attendance really hasn't been bad in the core marketplaces like Phoenix, Cleveland, I would say Orlando. The only one that surprised me is Tampa Bay.
Yeah, because Arizona has been traditionally strong, right?
They're actually stronger than I think they were last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had a few 14,000 plus seats games.
And that
last Monday night it was 9,600.
Yeah, but the thing is, those 14, that's during the peak of the height of the Arena Football League. When teams were having 12, 14, 13. I remember San Jose had an average attendance of like 12 or 13 on average.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when it was an Arena Bowl, of course, they were a lot higher, the 16,000 something.
Yeah. And for the fans that are not showing up, like, a lot of people are questioning where does the Arena Football League get these attendance figures? And then there's fans that go on, social media and say, hey, we were there personally and there wasn't, X amount of thousands of people there. There was only like a couple hundred, like in Portland.
So those are sold tickets, right?
This is from every single sports league or even an event at a venue. If a ticket gets purchased and printed, it's considered an attendance. So, like, if you have a ticket for this week's game, but for some reason you can't go and nobody uses that ticket, they still count it as attendance. Even though they probably need to change the terminology, because attendance means that you attended that game.
Yeah.
So attendance. So if you go to your ticket scanner who comes at the door and scans your ticket, they have the scanners calculate how many tickets they scan. And I remember talking to somebody at the San Jose Arena. They say, oh, we have 10,100 people there in attendance. And then when I went to talk to Blue Coat, they said, no, it was probably around 7,000, or 8,000, something like that, like off a couple of thousand. And it's all, they can legally say that the attendance figures are what are the tickets being printed, and they can announce that as being the attendance. I know in Portland, I've had a lot of communication with the fans up in Portland, especially when they had the game against Jacksonville, or maybe it was the week before, against Orlando. There was like 4,800 announced as attendance. And they said, we looked around the arena, we could barely get 1,000. And things are going to change with Portland. They have Meadow Lemon back, who was with the team when they first announced it as the Portland Thunder. He's the GM back, and I'm going to reach out. I've been trying to reach out to him to get him on the show so we could talk to some people from Portland, and get Portland interest. They are coming back next year. If anybody's questioning about, the legitimacy of Portland. And then also I saw some notes saying about Jacksonville Sharks and the LA Kiss not returning. That's not happening. No team is losing out next year. Everybody's coming back with the addition of the Washington Valor. So next year we will have 9 teams.
Now, you think they could sneak a new team in there? Or, is it possible?
Yeah, they could.
During the offseason?
They could, but the most recent team to sneak in there, it was like the Las Vegas Outlaws. And that was under Jerry Kurz's watch.
So what
going
happens
back
if
again,
they came with a solid game plan that was agreeable, that they would be solid, and they came up financially what they needed to do? Any of the mishaps that happened in Las Vegas, what happens if they came back and they kind of made it?
Yeah, the thing with Las Vegas, that Las Vegas Outlaws weren't legally officially a team. Even though they fielded a team and they played at the Thomas and Mack Center for a couple games, and teams went there to play, or they went somewhere to play teams, they weren't legally official member of the league.
They didn't pay into the league.
They didn't pay into the league, so they weren't legally into it.
Wow.
So they didn't pay the full buy-in to be a member of the league. The way I'm understanding through talks with Patera is that he's going to do the announcement of new teams, like if at Media Day at the Arena Bowl this year he announces new cities, but now he's going to do the 1-year thing, give them like what they did with exact same kind of following what they did with Washington. And
give it a year to
let them to develop, and get their ways going. Washington, I'm thinking, is using the Pittsburgh Power field that they had at the Console Energies, so they moved that down to Washington, and I've always showed pictures of it on the Ninth Man Nation Instagram. So they moved the field from Las Vegas over to Portland. That's why the Portland Steel logo is so big. Everybody's questioning, why is it so damn big compared to other arenas around the country? Because that's how the Outlaws logo was. So they basically cut around the Outlaw logo and they replaced it with the steel. And then just for timing, they kept the end zones, generic purple just to have it. But the fact that they put that kind of money into the Portland, and they have Emirates International on the field, and there you can see Terry Emirates logo around. Portland's going to have an ownership probably by the end of the year. We'll probably hear something.
Yeah, and we've met the people over there and stuff, and they love the arena football. They're passionate, and I think long term, if they had a team year after year, they can develop the relationships with the sponsors, local, whatever they need to do to bring attendance in. So you got a lot of good stuff going on there in Portland, everyone.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of the easy ways is simply just do ticketing thing. But if you're truly, part of the Legion of Steel there, which is their 9th man group, the best way, if you want to, the main station up there that the Portland Steel get under is under 750 AM, 102.9 FM, The Game. This week's game is actually going to be on 790 AM, the Freedom 790 AM, which is a sister station. Most likely because the Portland Timber have the main station. So, but call those stations. Spam those stations. Get the hell and get them to ask, even if they're not even talking about arena football or even football. Get them to start talking about your Portland Steel. Start talking about, bless them out of them. Bug the hell out of them. And call, Comcast Sportsnet Northwest. Start doing that. And then that's a cable network. But also call the over-the-air networks, like your local, like Channel 2, Channel 5, or whatever, the local over-the-air networks out there, TV stations. And start calling them. Start emailing them. As a fan, if you want to see exposure for your Portland Steel and get fancy, because I've heard that there's no marketing being done for the team. They don't see them anywhere. Your fans are the number one voice of any team. By showing up and by talking about it. Not just on social media, because a lot of the media outlets won't get that.
Plus, you also, if you go to the local bars during game day, you should be able to see at least one of their 10 screens at the bar have a game on.
Yeah,
and
whether it's your game or not.
So many times we've gone into the local bars, wherever we're at, whether it be in LA or even like in San Jose, and we've actually requested for them to turn it to this channel or that channel and everything and stuff. So that's kind of an indication. If you go to the local bars and you're not seeing it on there and you have to ask, you shouldn't have to ask, right? Especially if there's like a sponsor, especially if it's a local bar that's close enough to the arena to where they're going to get fans post-game and pre-game. You want to make sure that they know what's going on and they even know about the team.
Yeah, I was checking. I saw a posting earlier on Facebook that the Legion of Steel is having a watch party for their game down in Tampa, and it's on. I think it's on deck at a place called On Deck Grill. I'm actually pulling it up right now. Yeah, On Deck Sports Bar and Grill, Southwest 14th Street, there in Portland. That was posted on their thing, but do that. Even if it's not your game, even if it's like last week, how there was 3 out of 4 games on Saturday, and then you had the 4th game on a Monday. And even though that's not your team, go out and watch it. Exposure. Get exposed. Get conversation. Because people who are not there will come in. They'll say, first of all, they'll probably try changing the channel, but you're watching it. But then it develops conversation and gets an interest in people, and it gives exposure to the league. And that's what we need. We need to have exposure. Go to your local sports bars if you're out, and if there's a game on CBS Sports Network, DirecTV, most sports bars out there have DirecTV, 221 is CBS Sports Network, or if it's on ESPN2, that's channel 209. Turn it on to those, those channels and watch it. If it's Univision, even though if they're playing music in the background and you don't hear the play-by-play calls, still at least have the video part on. And if you're watching the Univision Televisión Deportes Network, that's channel 464.
Can you say that again for me?
No, I'm not going to say Spanish again. Playoffs. So it's all about exposure, and for the Portland fans, if you want more people to start showing up to your games and let the attendance figures that are being announced be true to form, do that. I know that one of the issues I see with the LA Kiss and why their attendance is not the greatest, even though they did have a strong attendance last game, is that their games always seem to coincide with the Anaheim Angels.
Oh, okay.
And I think the Kiss need to go to the Anaheim Angels and talk to them about marketing and say, like, if the Angels game starts like at 1 p.m. and the Kiss game starts at, say, 7 p.m. later that night, if you went to the Angels game that day, take your ticket stub from the Angels game to the ticket booth at the Honda Center and get like either a free ticket or maybe a discounted ticket.
Yeah.
Do some kind of ticket offer like that. And then vice versa, work it to where if the Kiss play before the Angels, have Kiss fans be able to go and get discounted tickets at Angels games.
That way it's like you make sports, you make a whole day of sports, right?
Yeah, it's a whole day of family outing, and it builds a relationship, and it's more exposure for your team.
Especially if you have baseball fans
the Angels,
that know nothing about arena football, right?
Yeah, the Angels will come over.
It's a good way to like introduce, hey, did you know that here right across the street there's an actual indoor professional football team playing?
You know what I saw last night? I was at a restaurant, and I happened to watch the Angels game last night, playing Texas Rangers. Mm-hmm. And behind home plate, they had those little advertisements behind home plate nowadays. I saw something for the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, already.
So the Rams are using the Angels to advertise for them coming up next year or this fall.
Yeah.
So the Kiss should do that.
Oh, yeah.
They should do like a ticket exchange, and you're right down the street on Catella there.
And I know LA the LA Kiss, their owner is like a promotional, media.
Yeah, he's all about branding.
Yeah, I mean, so they're the experts and stuff. They should know what they're doing and everything, but there has to be a better way. I know when we were locally there in the local bars, I mean, depending on who we talk to, even the people that work there, the typical question we get, really? There's a football team over there? And they're like right across the street, and we got that comment.
The only surprise that we got was after the game. We went to the official post-game party at Tilted Kilt.
Yes.
At the Stadium Promenade in Orange, and they said, "Oh, so were you guys showing the game?" So, "Oh yeah, we always show the game here."
Yeah.
And I'm like, am I in the right place?
Right.
Did they just actually say that? And so.
Well, also the other place right across, right? Schmitz.
JD Smith's, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're a sponsor of the Kiss, too.
But the thing we were asking, and a lot of people didn't know, and they have an actual jersey, a Kiss jersey, because they do like
a sponsor and eating contest.
Yeah, so they actually had a jersey there. So right when you walk in, you actually see the Ducks jersey, and then you may even see the Angels jersey.
Yeah.
But then you even see a Kiss jersey.
Yeah.
So it's like you would think if they have a jersey in there and they even work there that they would at least know, what's that jersey up there?
Yeah, they're right across the street from the Honda Center.
Yeah.
And then also the visiting team eats their pregame meal, dinner there every week. That's Lizzie. Okay, so now we're going to move on.
Talking about these upcoming week.
Let's talk about week 17.
Week 17.
And the first game of the week is
this is gonna be
Portland
one of those
at Tampa Bay.
This is going to be an interesting one because they're almost equally matched, right? It's going to be on CBS Sports.
CBS Sports Network. So therefore, that's where your watching party is on deck. 221 CBS Sports Network, DirecTV,
5 p.m. Eastern.
So it's 2 p.m. Pacific time. So and that's going to be a tough game. It doesn't have, now that they went back to conference playoff seeding, it doesn't have any tiebreaker seats as far as for, the 7 and 8 spot. Because if let's say Tampa Bay wins that game, record-wise, they're now the same as Portland. Okay? So they're 2-13. And then Portland won the first game, but I forget by how many points. I'll have to look back on it. So let's say Portland won the first game by 5. So now if Tampa Bay wins this game, and they're tied record-wise, and they say they win it by
tiebreaker
7 points, they have the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
But now Portland doesn't have to worry about that.
Right.
Because of the conference play, they're not going to battle each other for seedings in the conference race. Portland's done and locked. They're playing Arizona no matter what.
Yeah.
So, not to say that it's taking light with that. Portland could say, since it doesn't matter anymore, we don't have to worry about winning this game. Portland is actually being talked about as a team that they don't want to be faced in the first round with a lot of teams. Like Arizona is worried about, a lot of the fans are already saying that Arizona's hot right now. They just came off and beating Jacksonville, and I know Jacksonville's having their problems, and that's the reason for Les Moss being let go. But Jacksonville, on paper and in players that they have on the field, should have dominated Portland like anybody should have.
Yeah.
But the last 2 weeks, Orlando and then now Jacksonville, Portland has come back and has defied it. But
so maybe Portland's starting to kind of everything's coming together right at the right time. I mean, I know it'd be nice to start earlier, but you know what? You're in the playoff race. Boom, you're automatically in. So it's a whole new season. Yeah,
and technically, all you would have to worry about, you could lose the rest of your 2 games to Tampa and to LA Kiss, and then you're in the playoff.
And you're going to be on the road anyways.
Yeah, you're still going to be in Arizona.
Yeah.
You're not going to host a game. So you could host, you can play in Arizona, and then you'll go play either in Cleveland or in Anaheim.
Right.
And I guess for travel reasons, you probably prefer Anaheim, only because that way a lot of Portland fans could travel down to Anaheim. It's catch the Alaska Airlines down there or Southwest. And
so what do you think? Steel? Storm?
I think the Steel will win that one. I think
I'm Storm. I'm going to take the Steel on that one.
The Storm, I believe, is the Storm. Their names are too similar. First of all, Storm Steel. The Storm. It looks like an organization that's confused and they don't really know what to do. And I think, if I remember correctly, Jason Boltis, their starting quarterback, got injured last week. So now they're starting Adam Kennedy. Mm-hmm. And if we know anything from Adam Kennedy, he's a hot and cold player as a quarterback. Mm-hmm. And he had his time with New Orleans, and he throws a lot of interceptions. He rushes his passes. So, and to be honest, the fact that they're playing in Tampa, Florida, at the Amalie Arena, I don't see that as playing a major impact in the game. I mean, like if it was like Jacksonville where it does get louder and they do fill out a little more, or if it was Philadelphia, they're actually let me down on their attendance. They're supposed to be like the diehard, of that conference, and their fans haven't showed up.
Yeah.
Orlando took forever for fans to start showing up. So I'm thinking I'm going to take, the Portland Steel.
So we're both taking Steel for the Steel.
Yeah, well, I don't think they'll steal it away. I think they'll win it hands down.
Yeah.
I'm
just thinking
both teams
stealing it on the road or something.
STEL with STA.
I just wanted to say Steel is going to steal the game.
Okay.
I had to say that.
Yeah.
Okay, so next game.
They're not going to storm out of the building.
No wonder you're hesitating. You were trying to come up with some kind of... Yeah. No hurricanes.
But you know what happens before the storm?
There may not be any hurricanes.
It usually strikes with the thunder. Portland Thunder from last year.
No, I know.
You're shocked I went there.
Yeah. Okay, so...
And the lightning can't strike because they don't play anymore.
Yeah.
They'll melt the ice.
I don't know. I can't...
Tampa Bay Lightning.
I'm speechless. I normally have a return for that, but...
That's what she said. Anyways, what's the next game?
I don't think we've had a That's What She Said in a while, because we interview a lot of people. We're not going to say that.
Not really on this show. We usually do it on our cocktail show.
Right. Okay, so LA Kiss, Jacksonville.
That's another.
It's going to be
game.
at 7 p.m. Eastern time, which is
4 p.m. daylight time,
and it's going to be on ESPN 3.
So that's a web-only game.
So get your laptops out, get your Apple TV out,
Amazon Fire TV.
Yeah, so technically you can watch it on your actual TV. You just got to be technically inclined.
Internet streaming.
Which who doesn't have internet? If you don't have internet, you don't even know we're around because you're not listening to us right now, right?
That one's going to be a tough. I think that's going to be the best game actually of the week.
Jacksonville and LA, yeah, because you know what? It's like I don't know. It's they play whenever both of them are playing each other. It makes the game interesting. Yeah, that's one of those ones where it could kind of be, a toss up either way. But it's like, so you think Nate's going to be starting?
Nate will be starting.
Okay, so Nate had a good game.
He had a good game last week, and nobody noticed that he came out.
Nobody knows.
No, was it? No, it was the game before against Tampa Bay that Nate came out and Pete Thomas went in and threw that last ball to DJ Stevens.
Yep.
Who was the playmaker of the week last week?
Darn it! I was going to say that.
So basically, I don't know. That's a tough one. And again, this game also goes back to it could go back to playoff seeding. Depending if like say LA were to lose to Jacksonville, and then lose to Portland on the last week, and Jacksonville were to win out, they would possibly have the same record. Jacksonville is 5-9 now.
Yeah.
So the best that they could do if they went out is 7-9, and LA is 7-7. The worst they could do is 7-9. So it would be a tie record.
Wow, that'd be crazy.
So if the playoff standings were the same before, Jacksonville would split the series game-winning wise, but it'll come down to the point differential. And I think if we remember correctly, LA won 64-43 because we were at that game in week 1.
Yeah.
So that's major points. But if Jacksonville were to beat LA,
that could
by that point differential, that could have been they could have been number 4 seed.
Mm-hmm.
So naming now that comes down. Now the decision to go conference play does play in effect and does hurt Jacksonville,
right?
Because they would be able to be number 4 seed and they would host a playoff game. Now with the way it's done it, they're not hosting.
Yeah,
they're on the road the rest of the year in the postseason. So and then the fact that they would be the number 4 seed if they would have went out in the postseason and be the highest seed going into the Arena Bowl, which it could be possible.
Yeah,
they could have hosted the Arena Bowl.
Wow, so that would be crazy, huh?
That's makes this decision about going conference play all the worst.
Yeah,
but you got to keep in mind, it wasn't Butera doing it on his own. It was the board of directors who make up the league ownership, the team ownership. So it's up on
technically, them. I mean, I guess that's the way you want to have it, of course, because That way, each team, if they have a say in it, they're going to do what they think is best for their team, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be any favoritism or anything. It's it's majority rules, right? So technically, if you have it that way, that's the way you want it. But there's no way of thinking this or that, thinking it through. You can say, what if this, what if that, what if that, what if this? Last year when Jacksonville made it to the Arena Bowl, who would have thought that, especially midseason or towards the end of the season?
Yeah, the way
right?
they started with 1-5.
Yeah, so it is what it is, but it's so hard to predict. What if this? What if that? What if that? As soon as you start doing that, then somebody throws a monkey wrench in your formula there.
Yeah, and this could be a monkey wrench in Jacksonville's side. If they were to win out and LA to lose out and Cleveland to lose out. And
it's like LA. They definitely have the players, the personnel, the talent, the experience. They have all that to where they can actually, pull one out.
Well, same with Jacksonville.
Yeah, true.
Because they were there last year and they kept the players.
Well, yeah, but
some of the SaberCats, Reggie Gray, David Highland.
Yeah, but then now they have a disruption, right?
Because of the coaching, it could be a disruption.
The
fact that they lost a coach, or it could be pull the team to make them together and say, "Hey, something's about to be shaken up," and it can even go down to the players' part.
That, and we got a second chance. They can actually, when a player goes down, an inspiring player, then the team turns around and they focus and they stand behind.
Yep.
It could be kind of one of those higher.
So
higher
will that help? Will that help them out this weekend against LA? Would that be the key for them to beat LA, or do you think LA is going to win?
I'm going to take LA. I'm going to take LA because I think that both teams, they've shown that they could. Each one can possibly have a victory, and I'm going to ride on Nate carrying over what he did last week, his confidence, and of course, you got the coaching staff there. They're intact.
Last week,
and
you lost the fact that they almost allowed Cleveland to come back.
Yeah, true.
So they didn't finish the fourth quarter strong.
Yeah, but they, it's like I don't think all season they've finished the fourth quarter strong, right?
Well, first game they did.
The first
game against Jacksonville.
Well, yeah.
But that's where they dominated. They kicked out Jacksonville.
Yeah, but there's consistently, if you take a look at the and I think we talked about this last time. If you take a look at LA, right, consistently they've been to the point to where they should have won this game.
Yeah,
they were ahead, right? Fourth quarter going in, they played a good game. They were in the position to win, and they did not finish it, right? So if they could figure out that whole finishing the game scenario, then they would have been one of the premier teams.
Okay, so we're saying that Jacksonville has something to fight for because of what happened to Les Moss.
Yes.
LA has something to fight for.
Yes.
This is the last year, as reported by himself, Captain Morgan's last year, Donovan Morgan, his last year in the league.
Wow. That's going to be...
until maybe next year shows up and maybe he comes out of retirement like the rest of the pros do.
Well, the thing is also, Morgan, Captain Morgan, if he goes out this year and this is his last year, he has a lot more football left in him, right?
Yes, he does.
I mean, he's obviously a presence out there when you see him. So, the thing is, do you maybe if they were to win the Arena Bowl, then you want to go out a winner, right?
And that's probably what LA might have the heart to do, and they might try to do it for him.
Do it for him, do it for themselves, do it for the city. It's especially since if city's going to get some competition now, they're not going to be the only football team in the LA area. So,
and if you want to be technical, they have another football team, but we won't say that.
Yeah,
that's the Temptation. That's the LFL playing over there in Ontario.
Yeah, we got to go check out one of those games. By the way. We gotta go check out a.
No, we won't mention them. So you're still after knowing that you're still going with LA Kiss.
You know what? Now we know that they have some great players.
Remember, this is in Jacksonville,
right?
Go for it. Jacksonville's ninth man.
They have, no, I know, and no disrespect to Jacksonville's ninth man. I just think that this would be a good opportunity for LA. So the question is, are the Jacksonville Sharks going to have inspiration from their coaching situation, or is LA going to have inspiration for trying to close out, at least closing out last week, and seeing what they can build upon that. So I'm still taking LA Kiss on this one.
I'm touched before this.
What's that?
I'm towards. I know it's going to be probably coming down to what everybody does, possession wise.
Last
possession.
Yeah. In fact, last minute.
I'm thinking
the last minute. There's going to be at least.
I'm thinking whoever wins the coin toss, as that way it goes, and the winner of the coin toss usually defers to the second half. The team who receives the ball in the second half, I think, will win it.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that team will win it.
Okay. So which team is that going to be?
I can't predict the coin toss.
Wait! You got to pick a team though. You can't go on a technicality. That's a technicality.
Okay, I'm going to say Jacksonville.
Okay,
I'm going to say Jacksonville, and I'm thinking not only will the coin toss thing have a play into it, I'm thinking that the slight edge is because it's in front of Jacksonville's ninth man, and I think not only will the players of the team
home field advantage.
Not only the players of the team will route up because of what happened to the coaching staff, but I think the fans will be riled up.
Okay.
And I think they'll be riled up, kind of angry, possibly, because they may have love for Les Moss.
Yeah.
Or they could be happy that there was something done to try to make some action, make change for that team to improve that team.
Okay.
So I think the fans are going to, and
that's
I think
valid.
I'm going to think they're going to have 10,000 strong.
Well, that's good.
So
especially if they have 10,000 strong, then they're going to have that support that they need. That you think, and
yeah.
It's going to be.
Now, don't let me down, Jacksonville's Dynamite. Show up to your East Coast version of the Shark Tank.
Yeah. If you guys have 3,000 or something, then Eric's going to be. Damn it!
I'm going to
should have went with LA. Should have went with LA.
I'm going to fly out there and deal with you guys, all 3,000 of you. No.
You might have to buy up some. Buy
up some seats, yeah, and give them away. So I'm going with Jacksonville.
Okay.
You're going with LA.
Yeah.
So what's the third game?
Third game is going to be Sunday.
Arizona.
It's going to be Sunday the 24th. So the other two games are on Saturday. This is going to be Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern.
6 Pacific, daylight time.
Yeah, which is kind of weird on a Sunday evening when people are thinking going back to work. But in any case.
Well, it's like Monday nights.
Yeah, true. So it's going to be Cleveland, Arizona on ESPN 2.
Yeah.
So look, they've gone up.
Ari Wolf.
One ESPN
I think Ari
channel.
Wolf is counting that.
You see that?
Yep.
And
3-2.
If Ari Wolf and that
I think Cedric Bonner is going to be doing the Tampa Bay Portland game. He does CBS Sports Network.
Okay.
Wow, Cleveland at Arizona.
Yeah. You know what?
I am totally confused by this Cleveland team. Just by offhand, I would easily just go and say Arizona Rattlers will dominate this game.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing. It's like
which Cleveland team is going to show up?
You know what? That's the thing. You can say easily. You can say, Arizona. They always win, right? They always do this and all that and everything.
And will Coach Guy, knowing Coach Guy,
right?
Will he choose the rest of his players? They said throughout the season, like when I was there earlier, they had Matthews, who was the receiver who came in. He's a fresh rookie. He came in and dominated. So they've played some new players throughout the season. So will their veterans, Maurice Purify, Nick Davila, Rod Windsor, and Chase DeAdder, will they take a break?
So I think they're going to use them at least half a game. So I think at halftime they're going to assess it. But the thing is, this is the thing. Do they really, really need to win this? They really...
They don't need it. They've already won the number one seed.
So if anything, this is just going to get ready
to keep them going, keep their juices going.
Yeah. So having said that, their motivation is not to get any injuries, right?
Yeah.
But they're still going to play their players, right?
Knowing Guy that you and I know Guy.
Well, what he's going to do
is he's going to bust it out all the way to the last second.
Yeah. I mean, you can. I think what's going to happen is going to be a pride thing, and maybe if for some reason things aren't going as planned, he's going to want to win, and he's going to put him in there regardless of it if it jeopardizes, potential injury or not.
Yeah.
I think just we know how. I think we seem to know, his thinking in certain situations and everything. So they'll rest them if they're ahead enough. But when it comes down to it, you got to think. All it is just keeping the players warm and bringing them to the next week.
But you can also look at the fact that if you do substitute some of your backups in, you could get them into a rhythm, get them into a flow. So if something were to happen in the playoffs, not saying that it would and we don't want it to happen, But if something were to happen, these guys could come in knowing the flow, and they could just plug in and fill in like nothing.
So this is week 17. Isn't it too early to... Because, look, and let's just say...
Arizona has a bye next week.
Yeah, but so this is the thing.
So they're resting anyways.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though. It doesn't make sense for them to have them out 2 full weeks and really 3 weeks once the playoff starts, right? So, I think they're going to play... I think this is the week that you're still going to play almost the whole game, if not the whole game, your starters, because you're going to have that next week to rest.
So
right?
if the Rattlers...
You can't go 3 weeks
if the Rattlers are ahead, say, by two scores at the end of the third quarter, you think Davila and the starters are out? At the end of the third quarter, we're going to the fourth quarter.
No,
they're ahead by 14 points.
No, you know what? Two scores in the Arena Football League, you can make that up.
What about 3 scores?
3 scores, I think.
21 points, not the 3 scores. 21 points.
21 points. You're going to start to pull them. 14 points, you're not. 30 points. Yeah, absolutely, right? But I think they're going to play, regardless of what happens, I think they're going to play the majority of the game. Because you don't want to have your starters not playing 3 whole weeks a full game.
Yeah. So now, but what Cleveland team's going to show up? With Orville Nelson at the helm.
Well, I think, I don't know if a great Cleveland team is good enough maybe to beat the Arizona Rattlers. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think
mistake-free, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, because Cleveland still has things to battle for. They still have the number 4 seed to go after.
Yeah, but do you think Arizona wants to finish the season strong?
I think they do. They want to finish it strong but healthy.
Yeah, true.
Will they sacrifice a win on the record just to, to risk injury?
Yeah, that's true.
So, and, Cleveland is looking after now Cleveland Pride because you got the first team at the Q winning their championship in the AHL. You got the Lake Erie Bossers winning their thing, and then after that, Cleveland Cavaliers win the NBA. So now if Cleveland Gladiators go and win the Arena Bowl, what if?
Yeah.
They finish the trifecta for the Quicken Loans Arena?
Yeah.
And then then Dan Gunn can say, okay, you outdoor teams, you need to start kicking up and, pick up the slack, with the Indians and the Browns. The Browns win if the Browns win the Super Bowl, we all might want to go play the lottery. So that's not going to happen in the part of this millennium.
I think the Browns are above the Niners for winning the Super Bowl this year.
I don't want to talk about it. It's no fun league, So
yeah.
So basically, I'm going to go for Arizona just dominating this game on Sunday.
Yeah, you know what? I know that you made some good points, but I just think that Arizona is a strong enough team, and they're going to want to show that they're going to be going into the playoffs strong. So I think, regardless of which Cleveland team shows up, I think. And sorry, Cleveland, don't get mad at me or anything. I'm just it's like we come from the Western Conference, right? I just think that Arizona's too strong in this particular situation.
Yeah. And for Cleveland's 9th man, hey, we will be proud to hear it from you when Cleveland wins.
Oh, you know what? And you guys got a great logo, a great theme.
They got great ownership, too.
Great ownership.
And they do a lot. Their fans show up.
Yeah, you guys have a great team. We see some of the posts, a lot of the posts that you guys have, a lot of passion. I mean, how many times do you see somebody from Cleveland commenting on 9th Man Nation? Or on their on their site.
Cleveland's 9th Man, I think, is probably one of the top fan groups in the league that gets underrated.
Exactly.
They don't get talked about. They're quiet.
Yeah, and they're
as far as for attention wise.
Yeah, I would be proud if I was in Cleveland. If I lived in Cleveland, I'd be proud to call the Gladiators my team.
So that's basically what we're going to have. So Tom has picked, reviewing this week's games. What? First game? You chose Steel.
The Steel.
To steal the game.
Yeah.
And the Storm to storm out of the arena.
Yeah. The Kiss. Kiss the Jacksonville Sharks goodbye for that week.
Yep.
And then the Gladiators to lose to
So
the
basically,
Snakes.
You're picking all West Coast teams to win.
Yeah, I know. I didn't mean to do that. I meant nothing by that.
Hey, the West Coast is the best coast.
Ooh. West Coast in the house.
No, we're not going to go there. Sorry, that kind of flicked onto me because I just got done watching Straight Outta Compton last night.
Oh, jeez.
On HBO now. So
you dragged me into it, and you fed me a little bit, and then I started jumping right in.
So my review is I'm going Portland Steel, Jacksonville Sharks, Arizona Rattlers.
All right.
Now, if you're wondering why, wait a minute. There's 8 teams. Divided by 2 means there's 4 games. Philadelphia Soul and Orlando Predators are on a bye.
Bye.
And then next week, it'll be Cleveland Gladiators and Arizona Rattlers on a bye.
Bye-bye.
So that's when we came down to say Arizona Rattlers will dominate Cleveland this week, is because knowing Guy that we know because he used to play, or coach with the SaberCats out here, and we've gotten to know him. He's a diehard thing, and he probably understands that they have a bye before their first round playoff game against Portland, and they're already immediately favored against Portland.
Right.
Unfortunately, to Portland's ninth man's disgrace, or dislike, but
you know what?
That rest is going to help them. Yeah,
things happen, and
once you're in the playoff season, you're in a whole different season. Everybody's 0-0.
Any given arena day, as they say.
If you go 2-0 in the playoffs, you're in the Arena Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it's like these teams that maybe aren't doing so well, they could have done better. It's anybody's game. It's anybody's season and everything. I mean, who cares if you have to go on the road? Worse things have happened, right?
Yeah.
So, I definitely I'm getting excited for the underdogs in the playoffs because anything can happen.
Playoffs? You say playoffs?
Playoffs? Be lucky if we even win a game.
So, with that said, we got our picks. So, that's basically good. And next week, we'll have a review of what happened this week. And we'll also go do next week's predictions. We may or may not have a guest, but we're not dependent on having guests on this show, even though it seems like all we've had are guests.
And, the thing is, we've been fortunate because, we've had people who are willing to, set time aside for us and everything, and, we appreciate it. They realize that we're doing this for the league, and then, it's like the more exposure you can bring. So we really appreciate having guests, but at the same time, it kind of gives us an opportunity to kind of be ourselves as well, and not as formal when we're just talking, just like two guys talking about.
And I think
football.
the casual conversation is the best conversation to have, and we don't have to be too formal and all that stuff and be intimidated and talk a whole bunch of stats and all that stuff like some other podcasts out there do and break it down. Even though they do a good job and they want to get the news out there of what happens in the league, but we try to do it in a conversational way on how fans would talk about in face-to-face at a restaurant or whatever at your sports bar when you're talking games. Like the way you do on Sundays during the NFL season, you talk, the way you talk. You don't talk the way that the media outlets talk.
And, every show has its own personality and value. So there's plenty of room for statistic-type talking and all that and everything. It's just the way we kind of do things here. But we're going to welcome guests anytime.
Yep.
It's great. And it's an honor for us to be able to get these people in here.
Anything, our main...
So much knowledge.
Yeah, our main goal is just to expose the league.
Yes.
And we want to get more fans out there and to come to the game, especially with, Washington, ninth man, needing to take our... And, now that you guys have a logo and colors to go off of, Washington's ninth man, you could start thinking of fan club names or whatever. Or, the Valor Nation, that could be, for Washington's ninth man. And you could go off of that. And I know that they're already willing to have fans out there and support and fill up that, the Verizon Center out there.
And there's going to be some fun stuff you can do with the colors there. So,
yeah, red, white, and blue, and an eagle poking out of the V.
Imagine the red, white, and blue 4th of July game, whatever that weekend is.
That usually tends to be a league buy now on 4th of July.
Oh, that's right, huh?
So, but
they'll do something with that.
I'm sure the week before, I'm sure they'll do something.
Fireworks, whatever.
Yeah. They don't care about shooting fireworks through the roof of the Verizon Center. Make it the first removable roof in an arena. Instead of all these stadiums having removable roofs. How about an arena having removable roofs?
Yeah, sometimes the Arena Football League. There's been a couple of games SaberCat wise where they've tried to set off a little too excessive new fireworks that are unpredictable. Remember that?
Yep.
Remember
that last year in the playoffs against Portland.
Yeah, with the streamers going down, getting in the stands and all that.
It hit up one of our side reporters, Victor Santiago, who also contributes for Ninth Man Nation. he got it, right by him, shot right by him. So, and he's luckily he's okay because he's been to a couple games with me. But we're already pretty much an hour and 20 minutes into it.
Wow, we could just keep talking all day, yeah.
Yeah, but we're going to let it go so we can have something else to talk about next week.
Yes!
And keep an eye out for our Facebook page at Ninth Man Nation. And we're also, on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Google+. We're all at Vimeo, YouTube, we're everywhere. But make sure if you want these podcasts live to you follow us on SoundCloud and you subscribe on iTunes or follow us on, Google Play Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, and all that stuff in YouTube. So I'm Eric Thoreau.
Tom Jones.
And until next time, we'll see you at the arena.